It's crazy because when I got here, this girl took me to a club. She had never seen me dance, but she was like, yo, I want you to go to this club with me tonight. I go to the club and I'm out there just killing, just dancing, doing all this stuff that she ain't never really seen before because I'm from Ohio, we dance different. She was like, you should be a teacher. I was like, well, I didn't come out here to be a teacher. I came out here to do, choreography and be in videos, like all that crazy stuff. So she took me to the dance studio and I was watching them. And basically, like Cincinnati, you had jazz, tap, ballet, and all that stuff. We didn't have hip hop classes at all there, but that's another story I'm gonna tell. So when she said you could teach what you do, I was like, let me go see it first. So I went there to the studio and I saw that it was a teacher by the name of James Adagoki. James Adagoki, tall, dark skinned, was killing the classes. I was like, this boy is cold. So I was like, I just watched him. I just kept coming every day, watching. And then one day, I go to the studio, and I'm upstairs on the second floor. This is when Millennium, it was Moral Landings on Ventura in Studio City. I go up there, and I'm standing outside the door. I got on my baggy pants, like I always had, my shirt. I used to wear size 40 pants. That's how crazy it was. And I had my hat pulled all the way down like I still do, and I'm standing and I'm just watching. And the teacher was late. So I'm standing, I'm just waiting on it to start, I'm like, just, whatever. So I'm sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden one of the girls come outside, she says, hey, you look like a hip hop teacher, why don't you come and teach the class? Sound like a movie, right? I was like, I don't really teach, but I'll do it. So I walked in, I was with that girl, the same girl, she was like, just teach the class. So in Cincinnati, we would do choreography with my group. We would do stuff like, we wouldn't count, we would go, everything was to sound effects. So whenever we would go like this, that was like, we'd probably boom, ka-boom, ka-boom, boom. Everything was just like that. So she was like, you should count, so you need to count because these are beginner dancers. They need to hear 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was like, I can't count feel. I can't really count that. So at the end of the day, I was like, all right, let me just try. So I started doing it, started trying to count it. 20 minutes into the class, the teacher came. And he was like, oh my God, thank you, Shay. He shook my hand, he was like, yo, I need you. I need an assistant right now because I'm late. I live far. So I was like, all right, cool. He said, if you assist me, I'll pay you this, pay you that. I was like, cool. So I came the next week, and he didn't show up again. And that week that he didn't show up, I taught the class again. After I taught the class, everybody was like loving it. They was like loving my style. So I'm teaching the classes, and in the middle of teaching the classes, he says, I want you to be my assistant. So after I taught his class, he came in, he was late again. He was like, yo, Shane, I'm leaving for 3 months. I can't do these classes, so can you take over for me? I was like, yeah, I can do that. So when he left, literally, I was teaching on a Monday. That was the only day that I had. The class went from like maybe 5 kids to like 35 to like 45. It was too many kids to be in their room, so they moved me to a different room. And Anne Marie was the person that was in charge. She was the one that was watching the class. She said, how would you like to have Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday? And I was like, I don't know if I could teach that many routines, but I wanted to do it because I love doing it, and everybody just wanted me to teach. So Monday and Wednesday, I taught a routine. Tuesday and Thursday, I taught a different routine. Then on Sunday, it was like a beginner's class. I taught a different routine. So everybody was asking me, how do you create so many different routines in 1 week? And I told them, this is something that I can't even explain. I don't dance from what I see. I don't like go watch videos. I don't see what's the hottest dance. I go off of my energy and what I'm feeling. If I see a move, or if I see somebody say something or do something or watch a movie, then that would give me a different routine. My choreography goes straight from feel. So I was killing the classes. Everybody was literally in my class. I swear to God, I had from ages like 8 to like 28 in my class. People used to always say, Shane, why don't you do an adult class, just an adult class and a kids class? I tried to do that, but it didn't work because the kids wanted to be in my class every day. So eventually it moved down to just Monday and Wednesday. And I taught probably for like 15 years every Monday and Wednesday. And one of the things that made me so special at Moral Landings, which is now the Millennium, is I wouldn't teach nowhere else. I got offered to teach at Debbie Reynolds, I got offered to teach at Madeline Clark, The Edge, all the studios was asking me, not that I didn't want to teach there, it's just that I felt like since Anne Marie gave me the opportunity to teach there, that's where I would be loyal, that's who I would be loyal to. So I didn't go nowhere else, and if I did teach somewhere else, it's because I was doing a workshop, or they asked me to do something special outside of it. And And yeah, that was the only way that I would just go to a different studio. And then there was a guy by the name of Guy Geek. Guy Geek had a studio called Synthesis, a company called Synthesis. And I started teaching for him at Morelandis. So what happened with that is he finally got his building. So he had all these kids, and he finally got his own building. And that was the only time I went outside of Millennium or Morelandis to teach, because I had built up such a big class with him, and it moved. I wanted to keep that. And little do y'all know that little Adam that plays Moose on all the step-ups, that's his son. I was training him from 5 years old. It's crazy when I watch him do what he does, and when I see him in these movies. Not saying that I taught him everything, because Adam had the privilege of being around some of the top choreographer dancers because his daddy owned the studio. When we did the movie You Got Served, when we did anything, we had auditions or we had rehearsals around him. So he got to meet everybody. But I love to say that I was there in the beginning when he was first starting out. And I'm sure that what I did was a big influence on who he became. So yeah, so that's how I became a dance teacher at Morelandis. And the thing that made my classes crazy, check it out. I would have my class. Okay, so Morelandis ended up moving to North Hollywood on Lancashire, and that's when we got the Dome. That's when the Dome was the biggest studio. To me, it was the biggest studio in the world, and it was so sick. I got video of the building and kids lined up outside the building, around the corner, in the front, around the corner again. Like, my classes was crazy. It went from, like I said, 5 kids, and I think the capacity was like 270. I had about 280 in there. I had people on the stairs. I had people around the corner. I had people on the walls. It was just crazy. I had parents. I had everything. I missed those days so much. But what was dope is at the end of my class, I used to have the girls and the guys freestyle. And after when you see Johnny Erasmi, when you see Free, when you see Roro, when you see Little C, when you see Tight Eyes, when you see Chris from So You Think You Could Dance, all those dudes would be at my class. Some would take, or some would just come to be there afterwards because they knew it was about to go down. I mean, literally, it would be such a dope battle. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I wish I videotaped a lot, but I wish I had more of it now because the tapes are so old. But those days, I would never, ever forget. And I remember Little C used to come to me and say, Shane, you need to see this style that we do called Crump. I was like, oh yeah. I was so high on my horse, not conceited, but I was like, all right, cool. And one day he brought his boys to the studio. And I swear to God, they turned that place out. Like, I can't even explain the energy in that room. Like, it was crazy. And after that, it was just like, I swear it, Compton, Crenshaw, South Central, all the dudes from everywhere that Crump, that battled, that danced was in my class battling after. It was like the place to be on Monday and Wednesday nights. It was so crazy. I remember before B2K blew up, I talked about them a little bit, but they used to come into my class after it was over and perform for my class before they were big. And people was like, they're going to be so big, they're going to be so big. And I was like, I know. And you see how big B2K was. If you remember B2K, you know how big those boys were. So, my name is Shane Sparks. It's me, myself, and dance. That's my story of how I became a choreographer in California. And if you're trying to become a choreographer out here, my advice to you is be original. Go off of inspiration. Know the dances, know the styles that everybody's doing, but still keep your originality, because what you do right now that might seem like, why is he doing that style, will be the only choreography that everybody wants to do. And my choreography went from everybody used to say, all you do is booty dance, because I come from Ohio. We get on the ground, we get busy. And they were always, all he does is booty dance, booty dance. And now, what is everybody doing? Twerking, popping their booty, everything. And my style went around the world. I was teaching everywhere. I'm going to tell you about the Pulse on my next video. If y'all don't know about the Pulse, Dave Scott, Chris Judd, Lorianne Gibson, me, I can't even think of their names. What's her name? From So You Think You Could Dance. Mia Michaels. Everybody. If you was on the Pulse and you was there when I was there, you remember who was on that tour and how crazy the energy used to be. I will be talking about that on my next episode. This is Shane Sparks, me, myself, and Dance, and I'm out of here. Peace out.